Shalom, shalom, Yasharala. I hope all is well. You're never going to believe this. I know most of you are not going to believe what I'm about to say. I have something I want to talk about. Can you believe it? I got something that I just gotta talk about. Can you believe that? I know. It's crazy, huh? But no, I do have something I want to talk about, and it's in the Word. So we're going to go straight to there. I'm not going to waste any of our time with anything from Google or anything. We're going to go straight to the Word. But before we do, I just wanted to ask you guys if you knew this fun fact. Did you know that this show, I've never seen this. I remember seeing about it, this show called The Chosen, right there. Did you know that was filmed in Goshen, Utah? Right there. Right there where that red dot is, there's a replica of Jerusalem. And it's right there in this town of Goshen. Actually, Goshen is up here. You can see it kind of behind where it says see similar places. Did you know that? Look at here's a picture of it right there. I did not know that until, I didn't know that it was there in Goshen until today. And I forgot that when I was looking at that thing, the replica in London, in the heart of London, I remember seeing that there was one here in Utah, and I totally forgot to mention it or ask you guys about it. Pretty cool, huh? So, without further ado, let's get straight to it, shall we? Let's go to a verse by the number of 42. 42 of John, chapter 12. And I'm starting this off here because this is going to kind of get the ball rolling on what it is that I want to talk about. I was thinking today, before I started reading in John, I was sitting on a couch and I was thinking, what is it about me? What is it about my content? Anytime I post something or I'm talking, what is it about me and what I say that I'm just going to say it. It's the truth. What is it that I do or say that repulses people? Like, what is it that I say or do or how or what is it that is the deal breaker with so many people? And I know I'm not talking about all people, but a lot of people. So that's what I was thinking about. I was thinking like, man, and I wasn't thinking for, not for the reasons that you're probably thinking right now. That's not why I was thinking it. I was just thinking, Like, what is it? And, you know, I can't change anything. If I did, it would be fake. It would be a front, and it wouldn't be anything that I would want to do. I mean, that's the last thing I want to do. And if someone's putting on a facade, it's the last thing you should want to hear as well. So I was thinking about that, and I got thinking about the way most preachers and pastors sound. I'm sure you guys have thought about this before. You know, have you thought about how it is that they have like this sound about them? And I was thinking, like, I wonder if they practice that, or did they go to seminary and to get taught that? Like, you know, they don't all sound exactly the same. I'm not saying that, but would you agree with this, that most preachers, the way they sound at the pulpit on stage, would you agree that that's not how they sound when you would be having lunch with them? Like, most preachers, I can't even do it. I tried to mimic it, like to just try to see if I could make myself. I can't. It's impossible for me to do it. You know, I'm a dumbass. I can't even like try to pretend to do it. Like just picture, just pick any preacher. I'm not gonna say Joel Osteen because his is so thick, but like Perry, what's that guy's name? Is it Rick Perry? No, that's the governor. Perry Stone? Is that his name? Perry Stone, yeah. Like, he kind of talks somewhat normal. He has a southern accent, but would you think that he would sound the way he does when he's making a video or on stage in front of cameras, in front of a big audience? Would you say he sounds the same way when if it was just you and him talking? Like on the phone or at lunch or dinner? I don't think it is. And I don't know. I mean, I'm asking you honestly. I don't know. Do you know? Is it something that they're taught? Are they taught how to like work the crowd? Like, I know like Hitler and I know Trump and there's a few other people that I've seen the proof of the receipts that they went to. They took certain classes in their Jesuit colleges that taught them how to like fire up the crowd, work the crowd, how to use your hands and, you know, and the tone of your voice and the things to say to fire the crowd up. So I was thinking about all that, and I was thinking like, man, you know, it's probably hard not to fall asleep when you listen to me. I used to say all the time, I know my voice is like nails on a chalkboard, but it has, I have had a few older ladies tell me that it puts them to sleep. And I can't change it. It is what it is, but you know, like, you know, I've been around so many people that went to so many different churches, and I would hear conversations. People would say things like, man, I like going to his church, you know, just talking about somebody. I like going to his church, man. He fires me up, you know. Whew. And they're filled with the Holy Ghost, And then I've heard them talk about other ones, and they've said, like, no, I don't like his church. I can't sit through 2 hours of him preaching. I've heard that before, But I can't think. I sat and thought about all the preachers that I've seen. Like, when I was real little, my mom took me to see Jimmy Swaggart. I think it was right after, it was right before his little mishap, if you know what I'm talking about. And, I know he would lay it on thick, and a lot of preachers do. So I was thinking about how I just talk like I would, like if you were riding down the road with me in the truck, or we were working together, or watching a movie, eating lunch. This is how I talk. And I was thinking, is it just because of the sound of my voice, or my use of words, or my my highly epic vocabulary? I don't know. And I was thinking, I was like, no, I don't know. But leave it to Abba and these vehicles going by with their exhaust so loud, like they need them as loud as they can possibly get them. I wonder that too sometimes. Like, I wonder when they're so loud if the guy driving the truck or the motorcycle is thinking, man, I wished I could get them just a little bit louder. But leave it to Abba to answer my questions for me, and in a way that only he can. And I know it's going to answer some things for you when you hear the message that you hear. If I can convey what he answered, how he answered those questions for me today, if I can convey them to you sufficiently, I know that it's going to answer some questions that you probably have too. But look right here in chapter 12, John chapter 12, verse 42, it says, "Still, even among the rulers, many did believe in him, but because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the congregation." Now, we have no way of knowing what Messiah's voice sounded like. We got no way of knowing whether or not he was a charismatic, inspirational speaker, the way he, if he used his hands, or if he, raised his voice, or however. We got no way of knowing. But we can definitely find out the words he used and the things he talked about, to let us know what kind of how the words sounded coming off of his lips. We can find the answer to that. We can see that basically no one received it with joy. Very few were even willing to deal with it. You see right here, most of them wouldn't confess him because they didn't want to get kicked out of the congregation. For they love the praise of men more than the praise of the Most High. So I'm going to take you to chapter 2. And like I said, I'm going to try to convey this answer the best I can to you. And and just like every day, how many times I got to tell you this? Every day's the classroom. Abba's the teacher, and I'm the attentive, astute student. Berean style, baby. And that's no boast on my behalf. That's just me acknowledging that I don't know very much, but I want to. That I hunger for it. And if anyone has a problem with that, well, they just got a problem, don't they? So today was no different than any other day. He schooled me, taught me some things, wine and dined me. Out there on the dance floor, and blowed my mind once again. And he showed me things that I never thought to consider, or I couldn't have, yet again. So let's read right here, chapter 2. And on the third day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee, and the mother of Yahusha was there. And both Yahusha and his taught ones were invited to the wedding. And when they were short of wine, the mother of Yahusha said to him, "They have no wine." Yahusha said to her, "Woman, what is that to me and to you?" That sounds like, that's kind of a jerky thing to say, wouldn't you say? I don't think so, but I'm sure if you said that, if someone come to me and said, "Oh gosh, we don't have any wine," and I looked at them and said, "Well, what's that got to do with me?" You already know what the response would be. My hour has not yet come. And that right there. He said, "Woman, what is that to me and to you? My hour has not yet come." Do you think that woman said, "Well, I know your hour hasn't come yet, but we need some wine"? Or do you think, like I do, and pretty much know that that woman probably scratched her head and looked at Messiah and said, "What the heck is he talking about? His hour has not yet come"? I'm sure that's what happened. His mother said to the servants, "Do whatever he says to you." And they just, we really don't know. I mean, if they were already well aware of the miracles, I'm pretty sure that they probably weren't, that he was doing, because we're in chapter 2 here of John. I mean, they say he started his ministry at 33. Maybe they respected him by then. I don't know. But we know no one ever really did believe that he was the Son of the Most High, and that we read about in these books, except for a handful, until after he came back. Even them ones didn't even believe it until they, like Thomas, had to stick their fingers in his wounds. So I don't really know why his mom would have said that. And there were 6 stone water jugs standing there, according to the mode of cleansing of the Yahudim, each holding 2 or 3 measures. Yahusha said to them, "Fill the water jugs with water," and they filled them up to the brim. And he said to them, "Now draw out and take it to the master of the feast." So they took it. But when the master of the feast had tested tasted the water that had become wine, and did not know where it came from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. The master of the feast called the bridegroom and said to him, every man at the beginning sets out the good wine, and when they have drunk, then that which is poorer. You have kept the good wine until now. So, are you guys starting to see, like I do, like I've been trying to say, that all words are 1,000,000,000% necessary? Is there any of y'all that are still see no real significance in some words? That are you still of the opinion that they just wrote things down, that what they saw, whether they were meaningless or not? You should be seeing that there's nothing in here that isn't 1,000,000,000% necessary. It isn't life or death significant. Look at what this man said. So this man, the master, after he called the bridegroom, it sounded like he was kind of upset with this bridegroom, thinking, every man at the beginning sets out the good wine, and when they have drunk, then that which is poor. But you've kept the good wine until now. So it sounds like he was getting on his case, saying, why did you do this? Why did you hold this wine back? Why didn't you bring it out in the beginning? You see, most people, like I was, thought nothing about what we just read. Thought that that's just what the man said, and that's what got written down. But I see now, because Abba Yahuwah, he wines and dines me. I see now that we need to get all this word, all of it. I know I do. Do you think that the things I've been talking about, that the Most High has shown me, do you think that those things would have flew 2 years ago? I know they definitely would have never flew with me. I would have never believed a lot of these things that he's shown me, or I couldn't have understood it, whatever the case may be. It just, the soil wasn't fertile. The timing was not right. Most people who do feel that I could put them to sleep, and they do feel that I'm crazy, they don't understand nothing I'm talking about, and they don't take the time to try to understand. They couldn't have believed it, or even attempted to try and understand it 10 years ago, 20 years ago. And why do you think it is that it's being talked about now? I mean, could it be that, like I always say, he knows all the right moves. The timing is right, for one thing, but we need to understand these things now, because the things that that he shows me are things, I say this all the time, I get them from places that I've read for years, my whole life, and never saw what seems like today was sitting right there in front of me. I never noticed them. But that's just how it is. Abba, he knows all the right moves. We read there in chapter 12, verse 42 at the beginning, that those who did believe in Messiah didn't confess him publicly because they feared that they'd get kicked out of the congregation, because they feared man more than they did, or they praised man more than they did the Most High. Let me ask you a hypothetical question here. If there was a truth that could save your life and you didn't know it, and if you don't come to the truth of it, you're gonna die. But it was the only way to hear it, to find it, had to be told to you from, say, a serial killer or a terrorist, whatever, someone bad. Just imagine like the worst person possible. Would you be okay with hearing it from that person, or would you say? And I'm asking you a hypothetical question. Would you be willing to hear the truth that you need to hear in order to save your life? Would you deny hearing it because it's coming from someone, from a source that you don't approve of? Or are you like me, and is it by any means necessary for you? And I'm talking about the furthest on the spectrum. Most people won't take it from me because of the same reasons they didn't take it from Messiah. They said things like, well, he hangs out with tax collectors. He has a demon. He's a wine bibber. He's blasphemous all the time. They said that about him. Is that why they didn't take the truth from him and denied him, hung him up on the stake and brutally murdered him? Because they needed it to come from someone who they admired, who they felt could do no wrong, who they just adorned. So, and that's the way it is. Otherwise, if that ain't the way it is, and it always has been, I would have all kinds of subs and views. Wouldn't you agree? Because, I mean, there's people out here talking about cat boots or something, you know, like just nothing, that have tons and tons of subscribers and views. And there's people talking about science fiction that everyone knows could never be real. But yet they have all kinds of views. So, I mean, if you just wanted to look at the things I say as entertainment, science fiction for some people who like sci-fi kind of stuff, you would think that they might show up and talk about stuff that's out there with me, right? No, I know why. I do know that my voice plays a part, and I do know that that if I tickled ears, that there would be more people engaged in conversation with me. I do know that. But I also know that they did the same thing to Messiah. That no one wanted to hear what he had to say either. And what he said was right on time. It was time precise. And when he would say things like, we're going to go into the city and they're going to assault and murder the Son of Man. Did the people he told that to, did they have a clue what he was talking about? But not too long after that, a day or however long, it happened. And most of the things he said, they didn't even understand it until after it happened. When we're going to read that here in a minute. When he said, he told the Pharisees when he was whipping them, when he made the whip and kicked them out of the temple, he said, tear this building down, this house down, and in 3 days I'll build it back up. It says they didn't understand, his taught ones didn't know what he was talking about until after he died and came back. But why did he say that? And it happened a day or two or however long after that. It was right on time. He had to say those things. This, the beginning of the signs, Yahusha did in Cana of Galilee, and manifested his esteem, and his taught ones believed in him. After this he went down to Caphar Nahum, he and his mother, and his brothers, and his taught ones, and there they stayed not many days. And the Passah of the Yahudim, the Passover of the Yahudim, was near, and Yahusha went up to Jerusalem. And he found in the set-apart place those selling oxen and sheep and doves, and the money changers sitting. And having made a whip of cords, he drove them all out of the set-apart place with the sheep and the oxen, and poured out the money changers' coins, and overturned the tables. And he said to those selling doves, take these away. Do not make the house of my Father a house of merchandise. And other places we see, he says, doesn't he say a house of robbers, I think. And his taught ones remembered that it was written, the ardor for your house has eaten me up. And the Yahudim answered and said to him, what sign do you show to us, since you are doing these? Yahusha answered and said to them, destroy this place, and in 3 days I shall raise it. Then the Yahudim said, it took 46 years to build this dwelling place, and you are going to raise it in 3 days? But he spoke about the dwelling place of his body. Now, I've been saying what the Most High is showing me, and I'm not preaching anything. I'm not preaching, for one. I'm not sharing anything that's demonic. I'm not sharing anything that's perverted or profanity. If you want to say that if I say the word bullshit once in a while, that's profane, prove to me how it is. Prove to me that it's not a curse word, that it's just a figure of speech. It would be like me saying bull poop. Is that okay if I say bull poop? It is. You ain't gonna think nothing about it. I'm not saying anything perverted or profane. So, being how I'm not doing any of that, being how I'm sharing the word of the Most High. I mean, most every video I read from the word. And yeah, most don't agree with what I say about it. But the majority, if not all of them that don't agree, they don't come and say, there is one person that has been coming and commenting, asking me how I found certain things. So, you know, kudos to you. But you're rare. Most people, they don't care. They would never ask me why I say things or whatever. They know for a fact that I'm wrong, and that's just that. But isn't that what they did to Messiah? Well, right there. He said he whipped him out of the place, the house, and said, you've made it. Right here. Take these away. Do not make the house of my Father a house of merchandise. And his taught ones remembered that it was written, the ardor for your house has eaten me up. And the Yahudim answered and said to him, what sign do you show to us, since you are doing these? Yahusha answered and said to them, okay. They said, what? Well, you're telling us to get out of this house? Show us something great. Levitate. Fly. Make lasers come out of your eyes and prove to us. Show us something, a sign, since you're doing all this. And what did he say? Did he say, okay, check this bread out. Here's a loaf of bread that wasn't here a second ago. Abracadabra. Voila. Did he say that? No, he said, destroy this dwelling place, and in 3 days I shall raise it. Are you going to try to tell me that anyone standing there had a clue what he was talking about? I'm sure every one of them thought, what in the world is this guy talking about? He's nuts. He just went in, made a whip by himself, and knocked these people's tables over, these people who we respect, who we don't see nothing wrong with them selling doves in the house of the Most High. Merchandise, what are you talking about? And now, when they asked him to do a sign to show him that he has the authority to do all that, he answers with, destroy this dwelling place, and in 3 days I shall raise it. Are you going to try to tell me that you would have said, oh yeah, I know exactly what he's talking about. He's talking about his body, the dwelling place of his body, because they're going to kill him. And if you would have been just like everybody else. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have either. But what I'm saying is, it was right on time. There's so many things we can gain from this. One, like I always say, all words, all necessary. There's a reason the man mentioned about the good wine in the beginning. You don't save the good wine for last. That was man. The Most High, do you think he would save the good word or use the good word first and then not save the best for last? Do you think he's not time precise and extremely calculated in everything he says and does? You have to agree with that. There's a reason that no one has ever, I guarantee you, that there's probably never been anyone who either loves the word or claims to love the word that's said, whether in public or in private or even in thought, up until here recently, that the image of the beast is what I've been telling you it is. That it's Isis Ra-El. No one's ever said, I guarantee you. But I've even laid it out here for you on the channel here. I've seen it plenty of times, plenty of examples that the enemies, that there's people, there's actual men on this earth that know that. And they keep the truth of it from you. And they profit from that fact. They profit from the image of the beast. The first thing popped in my head, Saudi Arabia. They've profited from the image of the beast. Great Britain. Josephus. All kinds of people. If you guys ever watch Redacted, I watch it, catch it sometimes. But what I do like about it, and I've gave my opinions on them guys before. They get all them subs and views. They're not talking the whole truth and nothing but the truth. They're more than likely, what's the word they use? They're more than likely shills. They're placed there. They're like controlled opposition. The one thing I do like, and it speaks on this, is their intro. They put a bunch of clips that are in black and white that they've put together. They play them for the first hour of the show. It's like it comes on at 3, and you just watch the same intro, an hour long, of different people speaking, like JFK, Scott Ritter, a bunch of different people, before their show actually starts. But if you watch that, if you haven't already, notice what the CIA guy is saying. And it's right, it's like 10 or 15 minutes before the show starts. He's talking about how him and his team, they made up all these fake news stories in like Nicaragua in order to start these wars. He said that they made the American people and all different kinds of people think that these guys in like Nicaragua or somewhere, they made the world think that these guys were eating babies for breakfast and they were rapists and all these things. And the reporter said, so none of that was true? He said, oh gosh, no, not nothing. He said that we never had one example of them ever doing anything wrong. But we made the world believe, we created an illusion that these guys were monsters in order to do what we wanted to do. Watch that next time if you ever see Redacted, or not. But that's just one little case, one little example. That, and you probably know this, you know about the fake news, I guarantee you do. But you might not think about how Isis Ra-El is fake news and that it's meant to destroy you. And don't be like these simpletons and think that I'm telling you that it's that the mark of the beast is just you thinking that that's the real Holy Land, because I've never said that. No. The mark is, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, the mark of the beast basically is what everyone has on them that don't have the seal of the Most High on their forehead. And you believing, buying the lie that is the image of the beast, you buying that is just more evidence of the mark you have on your arm and on your forehead. Because we could discuss this all day. What would be the reason you refuse to believe it? I'm just going to use one person I know for an example. They go to a congregation, a messianic congregation. Those stars are on the wall, and they go every Shabbat. They love it. I mean, it's like they wouldn't miss it for the world. I'm not saying that they don't miss it occasionally, but it's like they wouldn't miss being there for the world. If I'm that person and someone tells me that that is the image of the beast, why would I refuse to even hear it out? Is it going to melt me? Am I going to melt like the Wicked Witch of the East or whatever? What would be the reason I couldn't hear it out? Well, I might not let you say it out loud in front of my friends who have those stars on the wall. Why not? Why wouldn't I? Why would I care if you said it out loud and offend them? What if I haven't proved or even went to look to see if it's true? How could I say that it's not true? The motivations are clear if you really want to look at why someone would refuse to even look into it. You don't want to get run out of the congregation. You don't want to be seen as a fool, as whatever. It's pride. I mean, however you look at it. It's pride, it's death, it's Sheol, it's destruction. Because humility would say, well, maybe I am wrong. If you can't say maybe I'm wrong, then you're full of pride. And finding the truth is nowhere near as important as seeming to be to those you adore, as this facade that you know things, that you're smart, that there's no way you could be wrong about this. That's more important than finding the truth. That it goes back to the childlike faith. You're not. He says only those that are like a little child are going to enter into the reign. If you can't ask a question, you have motivations, you have an agenda. And that agenda, however you slice it and dice it, that agenda is based on pride and self-exalting, arrogance, stupidity, foolishness, deception, greedy gain, however you want to look at it. So the Messiah said that, and would it now that we know why he said, destroy this dwelling place, and in 3 days I shall raise it, because this was written and it explained it to us. The next verse said, then the Yahudim said, a couple more verses down, but he spoke about the dwelling place of his body. Would it have made sense for him to say that years, 20 years, 1,000 years before they would tear his body down and he'd be raised after 3 days? Would it make sense? Or was it said right on time. I mean, I'm surprised that they even remembered it. They remembered that he said that, and it was, what, a few days? A couple years, maybe, at the most? I'm surprised that they even remembered him saying that, and remembered, because they remembered it, I'm surprised that they knew what he was talking about. No, it has to be fresh. It's got to be put in the right fertile soil. There's a reason he's been showing us what he's been showing us. If you're someone, I'm guilty of this too, and you thought, well, no one listens to this guy because he's out of his mind. Listen to what he's saying. He's saying that Isis Rael is the image of the beast. He's crazy. Does that sound as crazy as what Messiah sounded like? To someone who had never thought about anyone getting killed or whatever? I don't think it sounds quite as crazy to the world. I think it would have been easier to believe, or at least to hear it out. I've seen everything that the Most High has shown me. Has he shown me everything? My gosh, no. I'm just getting started. But the things he's shown me that are life-changing, groundbreaking, I've been saying it, those things, it's been right on time. Like I've said, it's like that song, he wants a man, oh no, she, not he. She wants a man with a slow hand. She wants a lover with an easy touch. Would she want a man with a psychotic hand? A suicidal hand? No. Do you teach a third grader high school algebra or something? Physics? No. It has to be taught at the right time. Well, what has he been showing us? What's this good wine that he saved for last? That he's shown us. It's the image of the beast. It's Babylon. It's the key of Daoud. That guy, I'll say it again, that guy Tony, he had that dream. And I'm so surprised that more of you ain't commented and said, oh my gosh, that dream, it's exactly, and if somebody does see that that's everything I've been talking about, it'll confirm that everything I've been talking about is true. How could that man have that dream? And yeah, most people are going to say that's crazy. That dream ain't what you've been talking about. No. Just like the Messiah was telling the truth when he said, tear this dwelling place down, and in 3 days I'll build it back up. That was the truth. The truth is that what that man was dreaming is everything I've been talking about. The room, master bedroom that he never, why would he have a dream that there's a master bedroom in his own house that he knew nothing about? If he owns the house, he's living and he sleeps in the master bedroom. How is the master bedroom, he's not even aware of, never even seen it before? That is a set apart land. The reason the Most High made it look like those artificial painting, the AI paintings, was to bring the words artificial to his mind. Because right after that, he said he was looking in the mirror, and it was like he had double vision. And there was a guy standing he could see in the mirror, but it really wasn't there. And there's no coincidence that the Most High has been showing him things like the way people are has changed. Reality has changed. He's talking about reality, that guy was. And then he mentions his dream, and he don't make the connections with an artificial reality and what he was dreaming about. But he even said that he feels like it's a crossing, like a nexus of realities, of way. He said, I don't know if it's going to be for the good or the better, or for worse, I don't know. But no doubt, hallelujah, that man's blessed for the Most High giving him such a dream. And I guarantee you that's seeing that is seeing Abba whining and dining that man. He's gonna show him. Now, whether that man has the humility in him or not to accept it and to look into it, that's the jury's still out on that one. But hopefully. But that's why he had that dream. And these things, the things he's been showing us, they sound ridiculous to the world, just like all the things the Messiah said. But notice, just like it took the miracles, the bread, the wine, and the calming of the storm, the opening of blind eyes, it took those miraculous, amazing things for people to believe that the Messiah was the Son. Look how it took him being raised from the dead in order to believe what he said about the 3 days. So when he was raised from the dead, his taught ones remembered that he said this to them, and they believed the scripture and the word which Yahuwah had spoke or had said. And when he was in Jerusalem at the Passover, at the festival, many believed in his name when they saw the signs which he was doing. When? Okay. If you X out the signs, saw, X all that out. Are you going to try to tell me that this could have said, and when they heard the words he said, they believed? They wouldn't have. They didn't believe. They only believed once they saw the signs, the miracles. They only believed after he died and was raised. Well, the things we're talking about, what's the Bible say about them? What's it say about the key of David, about the knocking on the door? It says that there's coming a time, and being how we're talking about it, it's in the time that we're in. It's fastly approaching. There's coming a time where there won't be, it won't be like these guys. You're not going to be as fortunate as these guys, because it'll be you that's dead, and you're not going to be raised back and get to live, get a redo. Right now is your opportunity. But Yahusha was not entrusting himself to them, because he knew all men, and had no need that anyone should witness of man, for he knew what was in man. Here's more proof of Abba's immaculate calculation. Chapter 9, verse 1, and passing by, he saw a man blind from birth, and his taught ones asked him, saying, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he should be born blind? No, Yahusha answered and said, neither this man nor his parents sinned. This man was made blind, but that the works of the Most High might be made manifested in him. Because he knew that man was made blind in the womb, because he knew that at that moment, 30 years, however many years later, he was going to cross paths with the Messiah, and the Messiah was going to open his eyes. It is necessary for me to work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one is able to work. While I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Having said this, he spat on the ground and made clay with the saliva and applied the clay to the eyes of the blind man. I'm surprised that they all didn't walk away. Could you picture me doing that? And hocking a loogie on the ground and mixing it with dirt and slapping it? I guarantee you they thought he was crazy until they seen he knew what he was doing. Once they saw that, then they're like, oh yeah, can we spit in the dirt and do it? Do it again. Show us again. We want more. No doubt. And you heard him right there. I said it the other day. We're in the most crucial time there is. It's crunch time, baby. If people were out here that were speaking the truth, if they were healing people, healing blind people, giving sight back to the blind, how many people would be following that person just to witness the miracles? But they would miss out on the bread, the word, because it's crunch time. And you're going to see why we're not performing miracles like that right now. Why it's so hard to hear by most. You're going to see. And he said to him, go, wash in the pool of Shiloh, which means sent. So he went and washed and came seeing. Therefore the neighbors and those who saw him before that he was blind said, is not this he who was sitting and begging? Others said, this is he. Others said, he is like him. He said, I am. So they said to him, how were your eyes open? And he answered and said, a man called Yahusha made clay and applied it to my eyes and said to me, go to the pool of Shiloh and wash. And I went and washed, and I received sight. And they said to him, where is he? He said, I do not know. Can you guess why they're wanting to know where he is? They brought to the Pharisees the one who was once blind. Now it was He said, I do not know. They brought to the Pharisees the one who was once blind. Now it was a Sabbath, Shabbat, when Yahusha made the clay and opened his eyes. Therefore the Pharisees also asked him again how he had received his sight. He said to them, he put clay on my eyes, and I washed, and I see. Therefore some of the Pharisees said, this man is not from the Most High, because he does not guard the Shabbat. Others said, how is a man who is a sinner able to do such miracles? And there was a division among them. The last ones there, at least they did get that part. And I think the problem today is most people, they're waiting for the miracles, but they're not going to get them. They're not. All they're going to get is the sign of Jonah. That's all they're going to get. They're not going to get these miracles they're waiting for. A lot of people, they're waiting for a big chunk of money to come their way. That's a lot of their motivation. And the reason they tithe every week and put money in the offering plate. They just know. You see it just like I do. How many congregations are that sort of congregation where they preach prosperity, sevenfold, all that kind of stuff? How many of them people are never going to get that money? And even if they did, they're just going to be taken further away be more miserable than what they were before they got it. And how many are like the first ones, the Pharisees, that the man was sitting there that they knew was blind, and they can see he's not blind anymore, and they're like, well, how did this happen? How many today are like those guys, them Pharisees, and that don't even consider to be happy for a second for this guy who's been blind and now he can see? All they care about is whoever did this broke the rules. We better go get him. We better kill this guy. We're the king tuts around here. Do you think a pastor who you'd see on TBN is going to come and comment here on All Esteem and say, man, this is true. Well, I want to know more about this, Dottie. You think that's what's going to happen? If they ever did even consider it or comment on it, it wouldn't be pretty. Most likely, they're going to be like, that guy. Next. Let's talk about something that really matters here. So they said to the blind one again, what do you say about him because he opened your eyes? And he said, he is a prophet. However, the Yahudim did not believe concerning him. They didn't believe he was a prophet, that he had been blind and received his sight, till they called the parents of him who had received his sight. Well, see, even after the parents confirmed it, what do? And they asked him, saying, is this your son, who you say was born blind? How then does he now see? His parents answered them and said, we know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. But how he now sees we do not know, or who opened his eyes we do not know. He is of age. Ask him. He shall speak concerning himself. Well, we don't want nothing to do with it. They weren't even saying it. Like, if that was my son, I'd have said, what the heck are you talking about? Who cares? My son can see. Shut up. He's been blind, and now he's got sight. Why do you care who did it? It doesn't matter who did it. It must be the Most High who did it. My boy can see now. Even the parents. His parents said this because they were afraid of the Yahudim. For the Yahudim had already agreed that if anyone confessed that he was Messiah, he should be put out of the congregation. Ooh. What did they get from the congregation? Was it their bed? Was it their toilet? Was it their kitchen? Did they go there to eat? Yeah. It was all those things to them. They felt, just like they do today, that they need that congregation. They're not even willing to consider something that another person, that they really got no reason to think that they would lie. This person they got no reason to think would lie or make something up is begging them to just look at this truth. They won't even consider it, because if they do, what's the congregation going to think? Is that why you're unwilling to look into the image of the beast stuff I've been telling you about the key of David, about the secret of the Most High revealed? I mean, I've put plenty of good evidence out there for you to look at. Now, at this moment in time, I'm not going to tell you, that you'll be convinced 100%. You should be. I am. But look at all that evidence out there that you could go at least consider. Why haven't you? Why ain't these people? I mean, regardless of whether I'm right or not, regardless of whether what I've been saying about the image, all these things, is true or not, that means nothing to you right now. The only thing that matters right now, and that is going to kill you, is that you're too worried about what men think, that you ain't even went and considered it. That right there, that fact alone tells the Most High and me that that matters more to you. They're your God. You are your God. You're prideful. You want greedy gain. You want the good seats in the congregation, and you want to be seen as somebody. Because if you didn't mind looking like a fool and getting ran out of your congregation, you'd go look. Few, that's why he says few there be that find it. Few. Most people, they'll tell you they're humble. They'll tell you, they'll wear shirts that say humble pie. But in reality, am I wrong if I say in reality, most people don't have a clue what humility is? Just like they don't know what love is or hate, because they've been lied to. They've been taught an illusion. Because of this, his parents said to him, "He is of age, ask him." So for the second time they called the man who was blind and said to him, "Give esteem to the Most High. We know that this man is a sinner." Then he answered and said, "Whatever he is, whether he is a sinner, I do not know. I only know that I was blind, now I see." And they asked him once more, "What did he do to you? How did he open your eyes?" I mean, how many times I got to tell you? He answered them, "I have told you already, and you do not hear. Why do you wish to hear it again? Do you wish to become his taught ones too?" Ooh, that was a low blow. Then they abused him and said, "You are his taught one, but we are taught ones of Moshe. We know that the Most High has spoken to Moses, but this one we do not know where he is from." Well, like that man said, what's it matter? What's it matter? Until he gives you a reason that he's possessed and blaspheming, why are we even having this conversation? Do you know anyone that's blind? Go get him. He'll probably heal their eyes too. What's it matter? The only thing that matters here is your reputation and how you want people to look at you. That's the whole reason this conversation is being had right now. The man answered and said to them, "Why, this is a wonder. You do not know where he is from, yet he opened my eyes. And we know that the Most High does not hear sinners. But if anyone fears the Most High and does his desire, he hears him. From of old it has been heard that anyone opened the eyes of one who was born blind. If this one were not from the Most High, he could have done none at all." This can't even happen. There you go. There you go. If you're hearing that the truth, whether you believe it or not, if you're hearing that the truth of what the image is, what the Babylon is, all these things, yeah, it could be a lie. But if you don't go look to see if it is, the only thing that matters is that you're worried about what men think. So bye-bye to you anyway. But if you had any humility at all and you truly loved the Most High, you would go look, because if it is true, it's from the Most High. So you'd want to know. And you know, these people who don't even really know for sure, they'll tell you that they really don't know for sure what the image of the beast is. Why is it that they won't go look at my opinion of it? Why? Well, I've been giving you that answer right here. It's pride. Your reputation trumps it by far. They answered and said to him, you were completely born in sins, and are you teaching us? And they cast him out. Was he teaching them? Is that what he was doing? You know how many of my quote-unquote Facebook, whatever you want to call them, Hebrew, Yahuwah loving, Mishpachah, family, friends on Facebook, you know how many of them would never come and hear this? I mean, I'd hate to even think about the things they say about me. And there's been so many times where I've been, you know, if you've been here a while, you know, I've seen conversations being had amongst them on Facebook, and I see it and I think, hey, you know, they see me as their brother. I guess it's okay if I come in and partake too, right? And have a part of the conversation. And I say a comment, they turn their backs and they're like, shh, don't make eye contact with him. He'll go away eventually. I'll ask someone something in the comments or message or whatever, and they'll say, I don't know what you're talking about, and never come back and ask me what it was I'm talking about. So the only thing you could say right now is, well, maybe you shouldn't say anything to them people. You could argue that at this point in this video, in this conversation, you could probably say, well, maybe it is that you just shouldn't go in there and talk to them. But is that the answer? Is it? You should know by everything I've just said that the answer to them welcoming me in and hearing me out is the right thing to do. If I'm wrong and it's demonic and it's of sin, they take you to you handle it. That's the right thing to do. But if you can't even go find out, you don't care nothing about Brother Dottie or whoever it is. You don't care about nobody in your little circle unless they're looking up their nose at you while you're looking down yours at them. That's all that matters. You want the world to think that you're somebody. We know the answer to that. So the only question can be now in this conversation is, should I not try to have be part of the crew? Part of, can I be friends too, guys? Is that the question? We'll see. He answered and said, who is he, Master, that I might believe in him? Or wait. Yahusha heard that they had cast him out, and when he had found him, he said to him, do you believe in the Son of the Most High? He answered and said, who is he, Master, that I might believe in him? And Yahusha said to him, you have both seen him, and he who speaks with you is he. And he said, Master, I believe, and bowed before him. And Yahusha said, for judgment I have come into this world, that those not seeing might see, and those seeing might become blind. And those of the Pharisees who were with him heard these words and said to him, are we blind too? That's the only reason they even got in that conversation, so they could put their two worthless cents in and try to make someone look bad and make themselves look good. Yahusha said to them, if you were blind, you would have no sin. But now you say, we see, therefore your sin remains. Chapter 12, verse 34. The crowd answered him, we have heard out of the Torah that the Messiah remains forever. And how do you say the son of Adam has to be lifted up? Who is this son of Adam? Yahusha therefore said to them, yet a little while the light is with you. Did he say, well, I am my name is Yahusha. I'm the son. This is what he said. This is how he answered him. Yet a little while the light is with you. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness overtake you, and he who walks in darkness does not know where he is going. While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you become sons of light. These words Yahusha spoke and went off and was hidden from them. But though he had done so many signs before them, even then they did not believe in him. That the word of Yeshayahu, Isaiah the prophet, might be filled, which he spoke, Yahuwah, who has believed our report, and to whom has the arm of Yahuwah been revealed? Who has believed our report? For any of you who's watching this right now, who has heard my report? Who's believed it and who's heard it? If you're someone, Sisterina, how many, not including yourself, how many people have you seen believe this report? And I'm not talking about the land like you. I know you see that, we see it all the time, people sharing stuff about how we've been lied to about where the land is and all that stuff. That's, man, hallelujah, Yahuwah. That's the first step in realizing. Just like that hexagram thing said, that the stranger, the wanderer, the first step in him coming home is realizing that the place he is not his place of origin, that he's been lied to. That's the first step, to realize that you've been lied to. Then you can start looking for your home. I mean, it's common sense, right? But how many people have heard the image of the beast report and believed it? They've heard what I've been saying about what the two witnesses are talking about, what the key of David is, what the secret of the Most High is, and so many other things. Babylon. Who's heard it and who's believed it? Because of this, they were unable to believe, because again, Yeshayahu, Isaiah said, he has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, so that they should not see with their eyes and understand with their heart and turn, and I should heal them. Yeshayahu, Isaiah said this when he saw his esteem and spoke of him. Still, even among the rulers, many did believe in him, but because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the congregation. How bad is it going to be for someone that's doing that? Or back then, someone that believed he was the Son of the Most High, but they wouldn't confess him because they were afraid of what? How bad is their misery going to be? I wouldn't want to live with myself. I couldn't live with myself. For they loved the praise of men more than the praise of the Most High. Then Yahusha cried out and said, he who believes in me believes not in me, but in him who sent me. I can say the same thing. Whoever believes in what I've been saying, whoever's willing to come and work this out with me and look for the truth, you ain't believing in me. You ain't got to share my video. Don't share my videos. I've never asked you to like, share, or subscribe. Don't do it. Go talk about it with someone else. Come talk about it with me. Ask the questions. Do the digging. Do your own due diligence. Because if you do and you see this truth, you're not believing in me. You'll be believing in the Most High. You'll be on your way to everlasting life. If I'm wrong and you come and we can work it out together Berean style, and we come to the truth of something and see that I was mistaken, then hey, I can maybe live. Who's doing it? Who? All the people that are saying no, that said no, what's their reason? You know what their reason is. What's your reason? Why is it that you ain't been bold in confessing these things, looking into these things? I guarantee you, It's you don't want someone to think something about you. You would never. Haha, you laugh about it. And he who sees me sees him who sent me. That's what he meant when he said, I and the Father are one. Guess what? I and the Father are one. I am. Does that mean I'm perfect and divine? No. But my reason, what I'm talking about, what I do, the reason I'm willing to risk being humiliated, mocked, and scoffed, it's of the Most High. It's not demonic. It's not perverted or profane. It's with the best of intentions. It's of truth. It's out of hunger and thirst. And if someone thinks that it is malicious, that I'm trying to deceive, well, come prove it. Like I always say, prove me wrong. You can't, you won't. And I don't say that. I only say that when I know that what I'm talking about, I've seen the truth of it. And when I say it, I know that if I say it and someone feels froggy and wants to come do it, they'll end up seeing the truth of it too, and they could save their lives. Where does that motivation come from? Does that come from Satan's kingdom or the kingdom of the Most High? If the Most High sent someone with his word, like the prophets, to go, like Jonah, to go to Nineveh, well, who is Jonah working for? Who is it that he is? If you can see this truth, you can see the Most High. It's not rocket science. I have come as light into the world so that no one who believes in me should stay in darkness. And if anyone hears my words but does not watch over them, I do not judge him. For I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. He who rejects me and does not receive my words has one who judges him. Who judges him? The word that I have spoken shall judge him in the last day. There you go. How you gonna, I know it's gonna happen, but isn't it gonna suck if you've heard someone, me, whoever, speaking truth that you needed to hear that would save your life? You heard it. Someone begged you, was begging you, please hear this. And you laughed at it and turned it away. And the Most High, on the last day, the Messiah says, I don't know you, you worker of iniquity. And you say, what do you mean? What did I do wrong? And he says, well, brother so-and-so told you the truth. He begged you, tried begging you to listen to it. And here's what you did. You laughed and mocked and talked about him behind your back. And is your excuse going to be, well, I thought he was wrong? That could be an excuse, but it's not gonna stand when the Messiah says, well, did you go try to find out if he was wrong? If you love the truth, if you follow the Lamb, the truth, the word, wherever, and you're willing to go wherever he leads you, you have to go look at what I'm saying. You won't mock and scoff and laugh and brush it off and gossip about it. If you're doing any of those things, you're blind, you're delusional, you're gonna die. My motivation for this, it saddens me to think that anyone's gonna end up like that. It sucks that the world is like that. My hope is that even if one person hears this and says, and they go look, and I'm sure there's someone right now that's hearing this is thinking, why, so you can get the credit? When you finally figure it out, what's going on, you'll realize that you would have never heard me on here saying any of this if I had that, if I wanted that even in the slightest. You wouldn't hear me on here. I wouldn't have been shown these things if that's what I wanted. Am I perfect? Does my voice sound like I'm maybe being conceited once in a while? I can't help it if it does. But if you took the time to know, to inquire, you'd know better. Back up here at 47. And if anyone hears my words but does not watch over them, I do not judge him. For I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. He who rejects me and does not receive my words has one who judges him. There's all kinds of people who quote his word, They make sermons and videos and movies and preach and do all kinds of stuff, Bible studies, where they quote his word. And there's someone who wouldn't come listen to this, to hear it out, to go look to see if what I'm saying is true. Why? Because of pride. Because they like the praise of men more than they do of the Most High. That's just the truth. You can't go, there's no two ways about it. So it don't matter how much they talk of his word. If they don't have humility, it's that word that landed on the rocks. And the weeds choked it out because of the cares and the lust of this world. So the word is going to judge in the last days. The word was spoken. All kinds of people spoke it, talked about it. But who received it and who rejected it? Because I spoke not from myself, but the Father who sent me has given me a command, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his command is everlasting life. Therefore, whatever I speak, as the Father has said to me, so I speak. Now, I want to tell you that all this stuff, if I tell you, come prove me wrong, if I tell you this is the truth, best believe it. If I'm here begging you, trying to shake you and get you to see something, is it wrong of me to say that I'm only trying, like I always do in the beginning, I tell you that I'm going to try to convey this message that the Most High has given to me. Now, whether I do a great job of it or not, I don't know. I'm going to try my best. But where's it coming from? It comes from the Most High. Is it going to come out right? Perfect? Maybe not. I don't know. But I'm imperfect. And we know that the Messiah, he was perfect in all his ways. And yet, people wouldn't believe him. They thought he was crazy. They didn't think he was perfect. They thought he was as far from perfect as you could get. Didn't they? The Pharisees. Then even his relatives. You can read where when he says, who is my mother and my brothers? But those that doing the desire of my Father. And right before that, it says that his relatives, I think it was his mom and his brother, came there, and they said he's out of his mind. You're gonna have to tackle him, like grab a hold, seize him. They wanted to lay hands on him and make him shut up. They said he was out of his mind. They said he was a demon possessed, or he worked for the kingdom of Satan, and he was possessed, and that he was a wine bibber, blasphemer. They didn't think he was perfect at all. Not only do most who I might try to squeeze my way up in the conversation and say, hey guys, how's it going? What are we talking about? Oh yeah? Well, this is what the Most High showed me. Even those people that I would try to squeeze up into and talk to about anything, they don't only think that I'm far from perfect, they think I'm out of my mind. Right. But who is really out of their mind? The one who would hear me out and say, what do you mean, Dottie? Well, show me. Let's have a conversation. And I know it sounds like I'm a broken record saying this all the time. Can you come and talk to me about this right now and tell me that there's anything more important than what we're talking about right now? If that sounds repetitive to you and you don't want to hear it anymore, well, there's your sign right there. I could halfway maybe get if you said, well, we've done worked this out, Dottie. Well, we know this. We what do you mean? We listen, we've heard everything you've said and we've asked the questions and ain't nobody done that. So if anyone's saying you sound like a broken record, well, obviously I ain't said it enough, because you guys, whoever you are, you haven't even bothered to consider any of it. And why does that matter? Why does it matter to me? Can you say I've not considered it? I've been considering, huh? So why would I say this? What's my motivation? I don't need you to consider it for me. If I'm begging you, basically sounding like a broken record, to get you to consider it, there's only one reason that I would do that. It's because I love you. And I'm hoping that you consider it. If I was hoping that you'd consider me as to be something special in this big, someone of great worth and power and fame and fortune, I wouldn't be here talking right now. You wouldn't be hearing me talk about this stuff. I'd be working on tickling your ears. I wouldn't even talk about it. I'd be working on filling up my pocketbook, my bank account. Money, cars, and hoes. That's what I'd worry about. But if you think about it for a second, there's only one reason why I would be on here, willing to sound like a broken record, asking you to consider all these things over and over again, pleading with you. But I know most people are thinking he's crazy. He wants to be heard. Well, if that was the case, I'd be doing something else. Anything that I've been speaking, it's because I love you, and it's regarding everlasting life. I'm not saying that I've been 100% accurate, but it doesn't say you have to be 100% accurate, does it? It says you have to follow him. It says the meek, the humble, the crushed in spirit, the brokenhearted, the poor, the needy and the lonely, those are who will make it. I'm not trying to be right. I'm trying to love you. I love you. The Messiah was willing to hang on a stake, be brutally murdered, and he didn't want to, did he? You've seen it just like I did. Take this cup from me. There was a time where he really wanted to back out, but he didn't. He went through with it. Why would he do that? So he could be seen as someone who is teaching Moses, someone who teaches. Is that why he did it? No, he did it because he loved you. He laid down his life for his friends. He loved the Most High. But everyone back then pretty much could care less to even consider any of that. It's off with his head. Give us Barnabas or Barabbas, whatever his name was. Now, I'm hoping that you can consider even looking into this, because I know that the Most High, He's time precise. Everything's calculated. The reason He's shown me these things, the reason we're talking about these things, is because of the time we're in. Because of how short our time is. It was short back then. And it's definitely short right now. You don't have time to blow these things off. What do you got to lose by coming and going to look into these things? If the praise of men ain't more important to you than the praise of the Most High, and you truly are humble and you love, but yet you can't come look at these things, I mean, what do you got to lose? What other, is there not enough time you got to read something else? You got to listen, talk to other people about something else, there's no way this could be important to you? Nish. You got nothing to lose except your life. If you come and you prove that I am wrong, then you saved my life, and you prove to be humble and loving, lovingly committed enough to come do that. That's what it takes to enter in. What gets you denied, Katie, bar the door, is the other side of that coin. The rejection, the refusal, the laughing, the mocking, the scoffing, the brushing off, the gossiping, the could care less-ing. Being too good, or someone else being unworthy, not being good enough for you to even spare your time. Don't spare it for my sake. Spare it for your own. If you want me to shut up and quit talking about this, give me a reason to quit pleading with you. When I see everybody coming and talking about this and working these things out, and anytime I see someone, myself or someone like me, try to squeeze in and get into a conversation, and they're not left in the dust and done like a dog, when I don't see any of that anymore, when the door's shut and everything's done, those to death are to death, and those to life are to life, then I'll quit. Give me a reason to quit. Almost have done is give me a reason to not quit. It's simple. Shalom, shalom. Till next time, Mish. These out.